my understanding and the way I understand the issue, I would support what they're doing in the Metolius. I would not allow a destination resort there. So that's Senate Bill 30 is what you're talking about. You know, people used to go on vacation and have recreation, and they didn't have to have destination resorts. You could have them hotel resorts, et cetera, I don't know why we have to have these enclaves all over the forest for people to enjoy recreation. When I lived in the state of New Hampshire, what we emphasized is openness, so people could get to the lakes, so they get to the water, and there weren't little enclaves that prevented the average person from using the resources that belong to all of us. So that's what I would emphasize. I'm not saying there should be a blanket rule, no destination resorts, because obviously on the east side you have some land that's probably not useful for agriculture, and there might be some logic in utilizing that for some kind of development. But when you start bringing these resorts close to the scenic areas and along the rivers and the lakes, and you kind of deprive other people from getting in there, I don't support that. That would be my answer on that issue.
Thank you, Mike. For your information, Senate Bill 30 was never voted on. Senate Bill 30 died in committee. It died in committee because the governor of the state of Oregon told it to die in committee. That's the facts. You can check it. There was no vote on Senate Bill 30. The governor's position, and the reason he did not want it brought forth to the floor, is because everyone on this panel just said we support the existing land use laws. Well, the existing land use laws were being followed in what was happening in Jefferson County. There was no approval to build a destination resort. It was being looked at and worked. So we either support the land use laws or we don't support the land use laws. And that was why the governor said, let me give you an example. I don't know if we have time. In my first session, we were presented a bill by CEC, Central Oregon Electric Co-op, okay? That they wanted permission to do certain things with the power lines, okay? I opposed that because what we were doing was passing laws for the state that applied to one specific location. If you pass a law for the state, it's got to apply statewide. They want to do certain things with the towers. And so that was exactly the situation the governor said on Senate Bill 30. And it was never voted on by anyone. It died in committee.
All right.
Well, I guess I agree with that, in that I think we need to look statewide at what the land use laws are. And I think we need to address this issue statewide. The Metolius River Basin is certainly unique in a lot of ways in that there's a very fragile ecosystem there that needs to be protected. It is not the only fragile ecosystem that we've got in the state, and we need to do more to protect all of those beautiful natural areas from development. I'll be straightforward with you. My cousin, Shane Lundgren, is one of the people who are trying to develop a resort in the Metolius River Basin. I have been outspoken from the beginning of this campaign that I oppose that development. His company then gave some money to my opponent because apparently they think that she'll be able to help him out if she gets to the legislature. He wasn't the only developer that's given her money in order to promote loosening of land use restrictions, which is one of the things that she has said in all of her campaign literature is that she wants to loosen land use restriction. I think that we've seen that as a very clear part of her record. That is the opposite of what I would do. I think we need to do more to protect our fragile natural resources.
About a week or two ago, there was the Big Look Committee was here in Central Oregon, and one of the issues, obviously, that was near and dear to the hearts of many of the folks attending that on both sides was the issue of destination resorts. And I think they pose a very unique issue or problem in this state in application of the land use laws. As somebody who supports the land use laws, I support the ability of local entities to apply those to their situations. I would not be in favor of loosening our land use laws to allow what was being referred to in many instances at that meeting as more local control. And there is plenty of local control, and I think, in fact, probably in this area, if anything, what we need is to step back and refine some of the land use requirements to take into consideration things such as what Mark has referred to, some of the very precarious ecosystems. One of the issues here in Central Oregon is water, for heaven's sakes. There is not an unlimited supply, contrary to popular belief. And when we're talking about putting in a monumental, facility, destination resort that's going to have golf courses and other major water drawdowns, we need to take that into consideration, and our land use laws should be appropriately adjusted to be able to consider those kind of things.
Chuck?
Well, thank you, Mike. There's no question the Metolius Basin is a very special and unique place, and I like to go up there and fish and hike and ride my bike as much as a lot of other folks do. Representative Wisdom, I think, really kind of hit it on the head for me. From a policy perspective, you have to look at the destination resort laws. I mean, they give the authorities to counties to do certain things. And in the case of that one, Jefferson County went through an 18-month public process with 20 or so public hearings, public meetings for people to comment, to only produce a map, a destination resort overlay. It's a map on potential locations. There was no water permitting process or anything going on in my knowledge. What that was identifying the areas that had potential. The land use law that I think I've heard everybody say in here today, tonight for the most part, that they do support, has the opportunity for appeals and litigation and challenges to it. And I think that, in that case, that's something you need to address if you have problems with that. But at the bigger picture, the question is, what do we need to do to fix, change, or whatever the case may be, destination resort laws? As things like that pop up, or as things like the overnight residential ratio question comes up, then the question is, from a statewide policy perspective, what can we or should we do relative to that?